Hi Bio4 and welcome to Chapter 25, the urinary system. So these are some really cool pictures here. One of the kidney you recognize, and then what would this tangle of something be? So stay thinking about that, of what that can actually be. That's actually part of the kidney. So when we think about what the kidney does, it's filtering, right? It's manufacturing urine. But think of the cell. The cells are all creating this waste. It's cellular metabolism waste. Okay, and it's got carbon dioxide, you're producing urea, you're producing ammonia, and all this needs to be removed from the blood. And it needs to end up in urine. Okay, so we have to sort of filter this out. So the kidneys are the organ that's going to get rid of most nitrogenous waste. What's that mean? Nitrogenous means it has nitrogen in it. So it's the breakdown of proteins. So you're breaking down proteins, you're releasing nitrogen, and you need to get rid of this nitrogen. Now, they're going to do this, and at the same time that they're filtering all your blood, they're regulating the chemical makeup of your blood, because if the blood pH is incorrect, they're going to have to fix it. If there's too much of this protein waste, that's going to cause disease in the body. So they have to rid the body and maintain it in homeostasis. So it's a big dilemma for an animal to eliminate nitrogen, because we produce ammonia, and if you've ever been in contact with ammonia, you know that one whiff of ammonia knocks you over, right? If you open a bottle of ammonia, we have it here in the lab, for example, and this ammonia, your body is producing this during amino acid breakdown. So you're releasing this one molecule of ammonia. And the problem with it is that it's horribly toxic. You can't store it. You can't stash it away somewhere in the body in the fat and use it later or take care of it later. No, it must be excreted. And it must be excreted as a dilute solution, which means that when I get rid of it, I have to dilute it a lot with water. And if I have to dilute it with a lot of water, I might dehydrate, because I need to eliminate too much of my body water that is in short supply. So ammonia has a pH of 11. It's very, very basic, and we want to be able to do something with it and get rid of it. So are there other forms to excrete, nitrogenous wastes? Nitrogen. And you can excrete it either as ammonia or as urea, or in the form of uric acid. So these are just all molecules that have that nitrogen in them, and that is allowing you to get rid of that breakdown of protein. Okay? I wanted to show you what they look like. So up here is ammonia, NH4. This is uric acid. It still has the nitrogens in here, notice. And this is urea with its nitrogens. So all of them are molecules that have the nitrogens in them, but the difference is their toxicity. It can be more or less toxic depending on which of these compositions you're working with. So ammonia is the most commonly excreted molecule by freshwater fish. Why are we talking about fish right now? Well, if they're in fresh water, they have ample supply of fresh water, so they're not going to die of dehydration. So they can take this ammonia that has to be diluted immensely and just eliminate a lot of water, because they have plenty of fresh water around and they can drink more of that water. So that makes sense for an aquatic animal living in fresh water. Eliminate it in the form of ammonia because it's easy, a bit toxic. Uric acid is not so toxic, and it needs very little water dilution, very little. So birds, reptiles, insects get rid of nitrogen in this manner. And you know that they eliminate very little water, right? A bird, when it leaves its little gift behind for you, or on your windshield. It's just sort of a pasty substance, and that's how they get rid of it. So it needs very little water dilution because it's not as toxic, so the bird can afford to save some of that water. Remember that terrestrial animals are always in danger of dehydration. So if you can save water, so be it. That's the best. Urea is the intermediate dilution. So you do have to dilute it with a little bit more than that pasty substance that a bird will eliminate, but not as much as a fish would eliminate. So mammals eliminate most of this nitrogen in the form of urea, which is what we do. The buildup, just to give you an example of what would happen if you build up some of this nitrogen, the buildup of uric acid in the body will cause problems like gout. And this is an incredibly painful big toe affliction where people say that it hurts more than having kidney stones even. And it's just when some of that uric acid ends up crystallizing. And it's very, very painful in the extremities, usually in the feet. So let's think of the functions, and then we'll go on to the specifics in a following video. So what are the functions then of the kidney? They're going to filter your blood, right? The liquid part of the blood, the plasma. The cells are just going to be in there. They're going to regulate osmolarity. So they're going to regulate whether that blood is more viscous or less viscous, right? More fluid, less fluid, more water, less water, that's regulated by the kidney. So if they're regulating more or less water, they're also regulating at the same time blood volume, right? Your 5 liters. Are you losing some of that because you're urinating a lot of it out? Are you retaining it? If you retain a whole lot of water, if you are not eliminating a lot of water, and let's say you're excessively holding on to water, it will increase your blood pressure because now those 5 liters could be a little bit higher than 5 liters. So at the same time, the kidneys are regulating blood pressure. The kidneys also secrete a very important hormone called erythropoietin. And erythropoietin is going to be responsible for manufacturing red blood cells. So all these different functions are from the kidney, and you can see how very, very important this organ is, or these 2 organs are. So let's stop there and then we'll move on to specifics. Thanks for listening.